Welcome back, students. So here we are going to discuss about the new chapter, that is equilibrium. Okay, equilibrium, unit 7, the equilibrium. So in this particular chapter we are going to study about the equilibrium, the chemical equilibrium and the ionic equilibrium. Okay, these two part will be there. In the chemical equilibrium, we are going to study about the chemical reactions equilibrium, at which point we are going to attain a chemical equilibrium. What is the equilibrium constant? How equilibrium constant is depending on the concentration of the reactants and products, and how it is depending on the partial pressure of the reactants and products. All these things will be out there in the chemical equilibrium part. Then in the ionic equilibrium part, we are going to study about the ionization constant, dissociation constant, which is depending on the ionization and dissociation of the acids and bases, okay, or salts in a solution. So all this thing will be carried out here in this particular chapter. So let's start this chapter. So first thing here, we are going to discuss about the chemical equilibrium, or what is the equilibrium state. So equilibrium state can be attained out in a physical process also, or in a chemical process also. So what is this equilibrium thing? First we will discuss about this equilibrium. Okay, so equilibrium, what is equilibrium? Equilibrium is the condition where we are going to take the account of the, okay, so let's discuss about the equilibrium state. What is the equilibrium state? So equilibrium state is nothing other than a condition where we will see no physical or chemical changes is been occurring out in a process. Okay, so here for example, if we are taking the condition where the liquid water is been vaporizing to vapor water, and there if we are seeing that the rate of vaporization of liquid water equalizes with the rate of condensation of that of the vapor water, then that particular condition we will see that no change in the amount of water and amount of vapors of the water will be considered out here or seen out here. So that particular point will be termed as the equilibrium state point. Okay, it will be termed as the equilibrium state point. Okay, and that particular mixture where we will see that the mixture of liquid water and vapor water is been found out there, that particular mixture will be termed as the equilibrium mixture. Okay, we will call it as equilibrium mixture, where both the reactants and both the products are present in their equilibrium state. That particular mixture will be termed as what? It will be termed as the equilibrium mixture. Okay, so next is the condition where we are going to see the types of equilibrium or the equilibrium condition. So in equilibrium condition, where we were talking about the water liquid was converting to water vapors. So here regularly the liquid water was converting to vapor, and regularly the vapor was converting back to liquid here. Okay, so here we will see that the condition was there where by our eyes it was seen to be in the stagnant position, but in reality this particular condition is the dynamic condition, where regularly the liquid is converting to vapor and vapor is converting to back to liquid here. Okay, this condition was matched out here. So hence this particular condition we can also call it as equilibrium, which is in dynamic role. So hence it will be termed as dynamic equilibrium. Okay, so it can be termed as what? It can be termed as the dynamic equilibrium also. Next, first, what is the equilibrium? What is the equilibrium for a chemical reaction? How we can define that? A chemical reaction is equilibrium, in equilibrium. So let us take an example for a reaction where nitrogen gas, 1 mole of nitrogen gas is reacting with 3 moles of hydrogen gas in a reversible reaction where formation of 2 moles of ammonia will take place. So in this case here, regularly the nitrogen and hydrogen are combining with each other to form ammonia, and this ammonia is again disintegrating into nitrogen and hydrogen here. Okay, so this kind of reaction, it will be termed as what? It is termed as a chemical equilibrium. This particular condition where the amount of nitrogen and hydrogen is not decreasing while the amount of ammonia is not increasing. Let us say that 1 liter of nitrogen gas and 3 liters of hydrogen gas has been taken to form a 1 liter of ammonia. At a particular point 1 liter of ammonia has been formed, but now no further change in the concentration, means no further decrement in the amount of nitrogen and hydrogen, while no further increment in the amount of or concentration of NH3 is been seen out here. So hence this particular condition will be termed as chemical equilibrium. Now chemical equilibrium can be attained in some of the different conditions, or it can be classified into 3 groups. Okay, so the first group is where we can see that the reaction that proceeds nearly to the completion and only negligible concentration of the reactant is been left out there. In this case we will see that the equilibrium condition has been achieved. Also the reaction in which only small amount of product has been formed and reactants remains unchanged here. In this condition also the equilibrium stage will be occurred out here. Okay, similarly the third condition here is the reaction in which the concentration of the reactant and products are comparable, but no more further changes in their concentration is been observed out here. That particular condition will also be termed as the equilibrium condition. Okay, so hence these are the conditions of the chemical equilibrium where we can see different equilibrium is been achieved in different conditions of the chemical reaction. Let's move further and see the next part, that is the the extent of the reaction. Okay, the extent of a reaction in which it will achieve the equilibrium, it can be calculated by using the equilibrium constant. Okay, that particular extent can be found out or measured by using the equilibrium constant. Okay, now if some important aspects of equilibrium involving physical and chemical process are dealt in this particular unit only, and that particular part will be termed as the ionic equilibrium, where we are going to see the equilibrium of the ions in their aqueous solutions. Okay, so that particular part will be covered up in the ionic equilibrium part. Next is the equilibrium in physical processes. Okay, so here equilibrium in the physical processes generally can be carried out in the phase transformation process, when solid is converting to liquid, liquid is converting to gas, and solid is converting to gas. Means during melting, during vaporization, and during sublimation. During these processes we can see that the equilibrium conditions can be occurred out here. So let's take for the first, that is solid to liquid condition. Okay, so there let us take an example that we are assuming that ice is been taken, that is H2O in solid state. Okay, in a thermos flask. So actually what happens in the thermos flask? In thermos flask, the ice will absorb heat. The ice will absorb heat. Okay, it will absorb heat. That particular heat will be termed as heat of melting. Okay, and it will convert to water, that is H2O in liquid state. But simultaneously to convert back into solid there, because it is a thermal flask and thermos flask is a isolated system, isolated closed system, where no exchange between the surrounding of energy or mass is been taken place. Okay, so hence again the releasing of the heat, that is the heat of freezing. Okay, it will be released out there by the liquid water, and at this particular point when it is kept in thermos flask, we will see that the heat of melting will equalize with the heat of freezing there, which has been taken out from the, which has been absorbed by the ice, and also which has been released by the water there. So at this particular point we will achieve a equilibrium condition, and this equilibrium here we are seeing between a solid and a liquid state, hence it will be termed as what? It will be termed as solid liquid equilibria. Okay, similarly the next is the where we are considering that water in liquid state is been vaporized to water in vapor state. Okay, or we can say that we have taken the hot water in a thermos. Hot water in a thermos. Okay, so when a hot water is taken in thermos, there we will see that the energy released, the heat released by the water, which will be used for energy heat of vaporization, same amount of energy will be absorbed by the water there. Okay, same amount of energy will be released by the water vapors in order to get back to their liquid state. Okay, so here we will see that the heat of vaporization will equalize with the heat of liquefaction here, and hence we will see that no change in the amount of liquid water will be seen out here or observed out here. Okay, so here the heat of condensation, not liquefaction, it will be termed as heat of condensation, equalizes with the heat of evaporation or heat of vaporization here, and hence the liquid water's amount will not be changed out here in the thermos flask. Similarly, we can take one more example, that is for iodine, which is taken in a closed container. Okay, iodine liquid, iodine solid, not liquid, iodine solid. Iodine solid sublimates to iodine vapors, which is purplish in color. Okay, so here we will see that if a closed container, in a closed container iodine is been taken, and there we will see that after some time the amount of purple vapor will be increasing out gradually. With the passage of time, the amount of purple vapor will be increasing, and there what is happening, the solid iodine is converting to gaseous iodine there. But after a stage we will see that a stagnation point has been occurred, and no more iodine or no more gaseous iodine is been formed out there, due to the equilibrium state has been achieved out here. What is the condition here? That the rate of conversion of solid I2 to gaseous I2 equalizes with the rate of condensation of gaseous I2 to solid I2. Okay, so at this particular point the equilibrium will be achieved out here in this case of the I2. So here what we are going to conclude? We are going to conclude some things, that is the characteristics of the physical equilibrium. So let's conclude about the characteristics of the physical equilibrium. So here the characteristics of the physical equilibrium says that these are the characteristics of the physical equilibrium. Here we will see that number one, in equilibrium condition, the equilibrium condition is only possible in a closed system and at a given temperature. Second, both the opposing processes occurs at the same rate, means the rate of forward reaction will be equalizing with the rate of backward process. Okay, rate of forward process will be equalizing with the rate of the backward process, but which is dynamic, but it is a stable dynamic condition. All the measurable properties of the system will be remaining constant at this condition. When equilibrium is attained for a physical process, it is characterized by constant value of one of its parameter at a given temperature. Okay. Table 1 is showing such property. So let's see what is that table 1. The table 1 is showing that particular property. So what is that table 1 showing? Okay, such properties are seen out here. For example, for liquid and vapor, here we will see that the pressure of the H2O, the partial pressure of H2O gas, will be constant at this particular temperature. Here we will see that in the condition of solid and liquid, here melting point is fixed at constant pressure. Here we will see that the solute and the solute and the solid and the solid solution, the concentration of the solute in the solution is constant at a given temperature. Gaseous condition, when gases has been mixed or made soluble in aqueous state, there the concentration of the gaseous aqueous condition divided by the gas condition is constant there. Okay, so hence these are some of the properties which will be constant at the equilibrium condition. Next is the fourth point, where we are going to see that when the magnitude of such quantities at any stage to an extent, the magnitude of such quantities at any stage indicates the extent to which the physical process has to be proceeded in order to achieve the equilibrium. Okay, next is the chemical equilibrium. So chemical equilibrium, what is chemical equilibrium? Let's discuss about the chemical equilibrium. Chemical equilibrium. So chemical equilibrium. Chemical equilibrium can be seen in a reaction where reversible reaction where reactants are converted to products. So here we will see that the rate of forward reaction will be equalizing with the rate of backward chemical reaction. At that particular point we will achieve the chemical equilibrium. Means here the rate for conversion of A and B equalizes with to C and D equalizes with rate for conversion of C and D to A and B. Again, it will be considered as a chemical equilibrium condition. Chemical equilibrium. Okay, so here we can see different kind of chemical equilibrium can be achieved out. How? One is the heterogeneous chemical equilibrium, where N2 gas plus 3H2 gas are combining to form 2NH3 gas. Here we can see that the number of moles on both the sides are different. Here 4 moles are combining to form 2 moles of product. Okay, so here we can see that the proportion for the formation of the product and reactant, for the combination of reactant and for the formation of the product, here is different. So this kind of chemical equilibrium, here also the chemical equilibrium is been achieved. So this kind of chemical equilibrium which has been achieved here, it will be termed as heterogeneous chemical equilibrium. Okay, because the amount of reactant used here is not equalizing with the amount of product which has been formed out here. Okay, such kind of condition will be termed as heterogeneous equilibrium. Heterogeneous equilibrium. While we can also see homogeneous equilibrium, where an example can be considered, where hydrogen gas is reacting with iodine to form hydrogen iodide. Okay, so here also we can observe that here 2 moles of reactants are combining together to form 2 moles of product. So here the formation of the amount of product and reactant is same, so this kind of equilibrium will be termed as homogeneous equilibrium. Homogeneous equilibrium. Okay, so this is the chemical equilibrium, which is also a dynamic condition. Okay, which is also a dynamic condition. The chemical equilibrium is also a dynamic condition where the reactants, the conversion of reactant to the product equalizes with the conversion of product to back to the reactants. For example, here equilibrium for if you are making a graph for Haber's process, okay, where dihydrogen is reacting with dinitrogen to form the ammonia here. So here the graph has been plotted between the molar concentration and the time. So as the time is passing, we will see that the molar concentration was decreasing for dihydrogen and dinitrogen till a particular point. Okay, till a particular point, it has been seen that the concentration of the dihydrogen and dinitrogen was decreasing, while same the concentration of the ammonia was increasing to a certain point, to a certain time. But after that particular time, we will see that the concentration of dihydrogen and dinitrogen, which are acting as reactant here, has become constant, and also the concentration of the ammonia, which is the product here, is also became constant here. So this will be the condition where we have achieved the equilibrium, and this is now the state of the equilibrium condition here. Okay, so such kind of conditions is being considered as the chemical equilibrium condition. Okay, they are the chemical equilibrium condition. Now in the chemical equilibrium condition, in the chemical equilibrium condition, we can proceed by both the sides, that is for the forward side also and for the backward side also. From the either side we are going to achieve the chemical equilibrium reaction. So that kind of condition will be termed as homogeneous condition. Okay, so here in the case of HI, we can achieve the equilibrium point for the from the both the conditions, that is either from disintegration of HI or either from the combination of hydrogen and iodide. From both the sides we can achieve the equilibrium point there. Okay, so these are the chemical equilibrium conditions. Now moving further, let's see the law of chemical equilibrium and equilibrium constant. What is equilibrium constant? So let us consider a chemical equation where let us consider a chemical equation where a simple chemical reaction is being considered. Consider a simple chemical reaction. So in a simple chemical reaction, two reactants, that is A and B, are reacting in a reversible process to form C and D as products. Okay, so let us say all are in the solution condition, that is aqueous state. Okay, so in this condition, at the equilibrium point, before equilibrium point, let's discuss about the rate of reaction. So rate of forward reaction, that is RF, it will be is equals to the product of the concentration of the reactants here and it will not be equal, it will be directly proportional according to the law of mass action. According to the law of mass action, the rate of forward reaction here, it will be directly proportional to the product of the concentration of the reactants, while the rate of backward reaction, because here this equilibrium sign is there, which is showing that the chemical reaction is proceeding in forward direction also and in the backward direction also. So here the rate of backward direction it will be directly proportional to the product of the products. Okay, concentration of the products. So hence we can write it as RF is equals to KF into concentration of A into concentration of B, while RB can be written as KB into concentration of C into concentration of D. Okay, so at equilibrium condition, RF will be is equals to RB. So according to that, we can write that KF A into B is equals to KB C into D. Okay, so further KF upon KB can be written as C into D divided by A into B's concentration, where the KF upon KB is the equilibrium constant, that is Kc. Kc means depending on the concentration of the reactants and products. Okay, so we can write it as Kc is equals to concentration of product divided by concentration of reactant, or total concentration of the product divided by the total concentration of the reactants. So this is the law of mass action for a chemical reaction, for a general chemical, simple chemical reaction. But when we are considering a chemical reaction which is containing the stoichiometric constant also, stoichiometric coefficient also, there in that particular condition, this definition changes a little bit, and there we will add a point there that the equilibrium constant here, it will be equal to the ratio of the product of the products to the product of the concentration of the reactants, but raised to their stoichiometric coefficient. Okay, for general reaction which is containing the stoichiometric coefficient also, there the stoichiometric coefficient will be raised to the power of their particular concentration value. Okay, so this will be termed as the formula for the equilibrium constant, where a complex reaction or a reaction is there which is containing the stoichiometric constant coefficient also. Okay, now it was, as I have considered before only, that I am talking about the condition where we are using the aqueous solution of the reactants and the aqueous solution of the product. Both the things are obtained in a aqueous solution. Okay, so there we can consider the concentration. Okay, there we can consider the concentration of the reactants and product. But when we are going to see for gaseous reactions, okay, when we are talking about the gaseous chemical reactions, what will happen there? For example, let's take an example for nitrogen gas mixing with hydrogen gas or reacting with hydrogen gas in a reversible reaction to form ammonia gas. In this particular condition, what will be the condition here? Because we can't consider the concentration here. So here we have to consider the partial pressure, and hence now the value of the equilibrium constant will depend on the partial pressure. So we will use a new term, that is Kp here, and the formula here will become PNH3, that is partial pressure of NH3 raised to the power 2, which is the stoichiometric constant here, whole divided by partial pressure of nitrogen gas into partial pressure of hydrogen gas to the power 3. This will be the new formula, which is depending on the partial pressure. Okay, now before it was depending on the concentration, but now it is depending on the partial pressure. Okay, so hence these two particular conditions, that is the equilibrium constant can be calculated when the concentration of the reactants and products are given. So then that particular equilibrium constant will be termed as Kc, that is the equilibrium constant depending on concentration. And if the gaseous reactants and products are there, so there we have to calculate the Kp, which will be depending on the equilibrium constant. Here it will be depending on the partial pressure of the reactants and products, and hence it will be termed as Kp. Okay, so these are the two different things, two different equilibrium constant, which we are going to study in this particular chapter. Now a short question I am taking here in order to be familiarized with the particular topic, that is the constant, equilibrium constant. Okay, so let's consider a chemical reaction here where 4NH3 is reacting with 5O2, that is 4 moles of ammonia is reacting with oxygen, 5 moles of oxygen gas to form 4 moles of nitrous oxide and 6 moles of water vapors. Okay, so here if it is asked to write the chemical equilibrium constant here for this chemical reaction, so at equilibrium condition, first not at equilibrium condition, in the initial condition, so first for the initial condition, what will be the in the initial condition, that here let us say 1 and let us say 1 and 1 part of ammonia and oxygen gas is there, and initial condition no product will be there, so hence it is having 0 and 0 concentration. But at equilibrium condition, means after some time, let us say the product has been formed as X and X. So how many ammonia and how many oxygen has been disintegrated? 1 minus X and 1 minus X. Okay, so like this amount is been calculated out here. So here if you are having some confusion, then we can change this one value to n and n plus 1 like this. Okay, so it will be more sufficient here. Let us say the concentration at equilibrium condition for the ammonia is n minus X, and for oxygen it is n plus 1 minus X. Okay, and the products which are formed here, it is X and X amount here. Okay, so here when we are going to make the when we are going to find out the equilibrium constant here. Okay, so here all the products are in gaseous state. Okay, so here what we will form, we will find the pressure one. Okay, so Kp is equals to, what will happen, Kp is equals to P of NO to the power 4 P of H2O to the power 6 whole divided by P of NH3 to the power 4 into P of O2 to the power 5. So on putting the values, and here Kp is always find out in the equilibrium condition. So which value will be put out here? These values. Okay. So x square divided by n minus x into n plus 1 minus x. Okay. So this will be the formula which will be found out here using the, for calculating the equilibrium constant here. Okay. Similarly, for a reaction where condition is there when liquid water is been converting to vapor gas, there what will happen in this condition when liquid is gas is there? So here liquid's concentration and vapor pressure both can be calculated. Keep this in mind. In the case of liquid, vapor pressure can also be calculated, while the concentration can also be calculated. But while in the condition of gases, only vapor pressure can be calculated. Okay, so hence here we will use the Kp only, not the Kc. Keep this in mind. And here we will find out PH2O in the gaseous condition divided by PH2O in the liquid condition. And hence the formula will be like this. Also, one more thing, if I am considering the condition where solid water, that is ice, is converting to liquid, which is in the equilibrium state. So here Kc will be formed, and here the formula will be concentration of H2O liquid divided by concentration of the H2O solid. So keep this in mind that the concentration of any of the solid is always 1. Okay, it is always 1. So hence here the Kc will equalize with the concentration of the liquid water only. Okay, so these are some of the facts which I have discussed with you. The equilibrium constant also has been discussed with you. So for today I am closing the class here only. Further in the next class we are going to discuss about the relationship between Kp and Kc, and we will move further with some of the numericals related to this topic. Then after that we will move to the ionic equilibrium part. Okay, so thank you for today's class. We will continue this particular topic in the next class. Thank you.